Hola amigos, soy Gavin coming to you live and in near real time, 5 or 6 second delay probably today. It is the Dancing with the Gavin show. No, it's the El Gavin show. I'm just kind of working it's like working titles or alternate titles that I'm kind of thinking, let's work on those a little bit. You guys pop in there. I know I didn't schedule this show. What I've actually been doing tonight is I've been tinkering with lighting. I have, I don't know, 4, 5 lights going on right now. I look pretty good, right? I mean, like, this is my little office here. And I just thought, you know what? It's set up. It's all there. It's so much easier for me to go live. It's so much easier for me to go live when everything's here and I pretty much just turn it on. I'm gonna have to insert glasses now in order to see the chat. Smiley, Jules, YOLO, FlexTube, 71, Colorado, Rayson, Don, all you guys, good to see you in there. I'm sure this will be a small and relatively short live stream, but I thought I would pop in here and you guys can tell me how my sound is. I did adjust the sound again because the mic was actually too hot. And you know how I've told you about clipping audio. Even the last show, I was kind of pissed afterwards because the audio actually was still clipping. And that's very, very frustrating for a man such as myself. And yes, I get a lot of comments on this table. Maybe I should start shipping these up to the US to you guys. This table, can I show you the base? I don't know if you can see. Bear with me. Let me just show you. Let me see if I can zoom out the camera far enough to show you the base. Here, I'm going to put a light down here. Watch this. Check it. Okay. I'm going to check my focal length so I can come right back to where I was on Bcam. And let me just zoom out. You can kind of see. You can't see it very well. Here, let me move the light. You guys can kind of see my space. The base, this is not just a tabletop. The base is actually the root system, the trunk of the tree itself, right? So these are amazing. There's another one you can see over here. This is actually my second one that I have a 3D printer set on. It's pretty sweet. It's a nice table. I actually got 2 large tables and that small one there for a total combined cost of roughly $750. So I want to say that this table that I'm sitting at right now, which actually has a conveniently placed hole right in the center for all of my cords, this table was about $250, I want to say, $250. So, I mean, when you buy these in the States, I know they cost an absolute fortune. It's life. It's life. Phil Hatch, I appreciate the super chat very much. And thank you. That's 10 tacos for my kids. And one of the reasons that I do these live streams, also for our channel backers, for our Patreon supporters. We have a few of those as well, and I thank you all for that. I appreciate it. Fitzcam, Phil, and yes, Don in Hawaii. I appreciate it. I get a lot of emails, but I do vaguely remember that conversation, and I appreciate that. So what are we going to talk about? Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. What are we going to talk about? I thought it might be reasonable to just do a quick live stream and kind of just chat a little. Nothing crazy. I don't have any crazy videos to show you tonight. I don't know. We might look at something on the channel, but I just thought we'd talk live. And it's fun, and we're set up for it. And I don't hate it when it's this way because I have real cameras and real lenses that I'm filming it with, all right? I locked the focus on this camera tonight because it kept doing this, and I'm really not moving here. So I'm like, what? Why is that on autofocus? So yeah, it's fun. The world is still as crazy as it was yesterday, and I've been watching kind of this fiasco in the news, about really stimulus money. Where's my free money? Now, don't get me wrong. If the government wants to send money to our bank accounts, take it. They've been robbing us blind. But it is important to know that socialism won't work. I think if I get a check from the federal government, I'm like, well, I'm just getting a refund on the money they stole from me by force. So fine, but it's not going to fix anything. In Mexico, we haven't had these kind of stimulus things. The citizens down here have not. And so it's a much more real economy down here. It's much less propped up. And of course, I think people have suffered more. Of course, it's easier to do simple work and just go out and start your own business and sell out of your backyard. However, there's a challenge because in certain areas, it depends on the state, honestly. Some of the more native and rural states are very chill and people just kind of ignore it. States like Querétaro, like Chihuahua, near the big cities, there's more enforcement, closing people's businesses down. And it really makes me angry. And I speak out quite a bit about it down here and try to convince people, look, you got to stand up. We have to stand up for each other because they're taking away the livelihoods of your children. And so, if you look at Washington State right now, restaurants are closed. Well, down here, they're making most businesses close at like 5. They're making restaurants close at 8. So while the rules aren't quite as aggressive and never have been, they will still come with their fake health departments in the bigger cities in like this state and shut you down. Now, if you go over to Hidalgo 10 minutes away, there's not much of that going on. And people are barely wearing cubrebocas and they're barely doing much of anything. Sure, they're still trying to peddle the narrative because it's all over social media, right? It's all here. It's all here. Never in the history of the world have they been able to control a narrative on this level. And I think that's why this worked. No, people could not have been so easily led in the past because there would have been dissenting voices. But there's no real dissenting voices in all of this and in this. And in this. I'm not saying the words because they'll censor me. That's how bad it is. We can't even speak our minds, but we can use our brains. Let's see. Let's stop and look at the chat because I know we could talk about the CVids every single night and I'll go crazy. And thank you all, yes. And Chris, police interaction videos in the US. Yeah, I mean, I just did a police interaction video in Mexico yesterday, and the narrative doesn't really change other than that the police are less psychotic down here. Slavery is getting worse everywhere. Colorado Donkey Watch, it really seems to be. And let's see. Where else? The level of compliance and obedience in the US is absolutely embarrassing and shameful. My brother Nathan just recently went to the US, and I don't go to the US. I'm a refugee and I don't want no part of that. But my brother Nathan visited not too long ago the US, and he was in Texas for some things, and he could not wait to get out. He said it was terrible. It was the worst. And it always reaffirms, I always laugh when the Texans are like, come to Texas and find freedom. Texas it has to be more fascist than California at this point. He said it was absolutely insane, the harassment for masks and things like that. Just absolute blind compliance to the state. That's really, I mean, they really should take down the signs that say, don't mess with Texas, which is ironic because that was a we'll fine you for littering campaign. It wasn't a campaign about their freedom. It was a do what you're told campaign, and that's their slogan. But they should really take down the idea of don't mess with Texas, I think, and replace it with something like blind obedience is peace. Or like, can we make let's just work on this right now. Let's make a new slogan for Texas because they are the worst and they suck. Now, don't be offended, you Texans. Okay, if you Texans are Texas worshipers, it's okay if you're offended because you need to get over yourselves. But don't be offended if you're from Texas, or Tejas, as I like to say in Spanish. Don't be offended because I know that there's a lot of good people. Heck, James Freeman is from Texas, right? Or at least he lived in Texas. There's a lot of nice people in Texas. I've met a lot of nice people in Texas. But Texas as a state is absolutely, like, never, ever. I don't even like to go there. Even when I was in the US, the police are such absolute psychopaths. My review, if I could review Texas, it would be 0 stars. Like, even their nature is terrible because they're all total a-holes about their private property. Even if it's completely open, they don't even want you like walking on it and taking a photo, even if you're in the wilderness. Everything is like they charge for. You can't even go for a hike in the wilderness without a permit from the government or paying some a-hole private property owner. I mean, it's bad. It really is. You got to go out into the barren wasteland to be left alone in Texas. So I know, I'm going, but the slogan, right? The slogan for Texas, I'm thinking statism is peace. Don't mess with government. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here while we're brainstorming together for the new slogan for Texas. Texas, the statist state. I mean, that's a little bit minimal, but I kind of like it. Texas, the statist state. Texas messes with you. Texas, it's more than California. I mean, I don't know. What do we say? Okay, so in fact, some of my first large activism videos were in Texas at the insane, treasonous checkpoints. So it's funny. It's funny. Pablo says Spanish cops. I'm assuming he means Mexican cops, not Spanish would be Spain. I've been disobeying clear articles of the Constitution with the COVID checkpoints. Oh, I see, Pablo. Okay, so you're saying you are in Spain. I don't know. I get the impression that it's actually more in Spain. The thing about Mexico is much like the U.S., it has a lot of space and a lot of states. So the Mexican federal government and even the president of Mexico is kind of downplaying it and being like, you know what, we can't violate people's rights. And so on a federal level, the mandate has kind of been, we can recommend things, but we can't make people do anything. And the president himself, and I'm not saying I'm a big fan, he's mostly talk, but the president here, as recently as last week, was making statements to some of these states that are trying to say you have to wear mouth covers and trying to close businesses and stuff, and saying what you're doing is fascism. Like, this is not okay. On the other hand, the new National Guard in Mexico is a bunch of fascists also. They actually just took the federales. The federales are gone now in Mexico. They just replaced them, rebranded them so AMLO could put his name on it. And now they're the National Guard, and they're feeling their oats, and they think they're badass. And they're basically just military cops running around harassing people. That said, I haven't seen them trying to enforce any COVID-related restrictions. So while occasionally I've seen checkpoints to try and get you to put cubrebocas on and things like that. And some of my, I don't know if I've ever been one, but I know my mom has. I kind of avoid the more fascisty areas as much as I can, even though my town is not exactly non-fascisty. This state of Querétaro is kind of a good old boys. Why do I always end up in places like this? I need to go to the beach. You know what? Screw this. I need to move to the beach or something. Like, why is it that maybe it's what it is. Don't go where there's a Costco and a Walmart, because that's where the fascists hang out, I guess. I don't know what it is, but something is going on. So go to the native places. I don't know. Let's look. I'm coming back to the chat. So what did we talk about? Tejas. We talked about how the world's crazy and a little bit about Mexico. Let's just come back on tonight's show and just review. I know we're random, but I want us to stay a little bit on point. As an interlude here, how do you like my hair light? I got a little hair light coming back, right? A little loom cube right up there. Just a little hair light, just to kind of, so I can be like, got my blue eyes, my catch lights. So I can be like, why, hello there. Welcome to the Gavin Syme Show and Dances with Gavin. So it looks pretty good, right? You gotta admit, it looks pretty good. No, it's fine. It's all good. My wife's watching, so you know. Okay. Let's see. I'd like to see Gavin run for office in Mexico. I am not a citizen of Mexico, so I can't be involved in the political process, which isn't to say that I can't stand up for human rights and speak out for that. But I don't vote or anything like that in Mexico. And honestly, I ran for Congress in 2014, guys. In fact, I was just thinking about this tonight. I think I even have, right here. Let me switch to this because I was just looking at a clip from me running for office in 2014 with my baby face, although I grew a beard before I ran to office. I'm going to switch to screen here just for a moment, and you guys can kind of see me. This is one of the forums in 2014. So for those saying I've changed so much, I have learned a lot, mostly that the elections are a fraud, and the person who's the biggest whore and tells the most lies wins the election, and who has the most money, but being the biggest and telling the most lies. I don't know if I can say twice without getting demonetized. Let's see what I'm saying here in 2014.
Because I want my country back. I want that American dream, and I am tired of tyranny everywhere I look. Folks, liberty's not something to be hidden away in dusty shelves.
Es cierto.
We should be teaching it to our children and grandchildren. We should be holding it up in front of us every single day of our lives, and if we are not, we are failing our posterity. It's not about what can government give me or what can they do for me.
Let's pause this for a moment. Here's this candidate. By the end, there was like 12 candidates in this race because I challenged the incumbent, and so he bailed and said he wasn't running again. So I was the first one to file for this election, and then there was like 12 candidates. And the funny thing is, this guy right down here, Dan Newhouse, he's still the congressman in this state. Remember what I said, who wins? Yeah, he'd been a state senator and all these things. I can actually imitate. Let me finish this, and then I'm going to show you how Dan Newhouse talked, because I was speaking from my heart, even if politics won't and elections aren't fixing anything because the person with the most money wins. A lot of these people, and there was like Clint Didier, who was actually the second runner-up in the election. It was very close, and he was a pretty cool guy, even though he was a little bit more, faction-y and Republican-y. He was right with me in there on talking about the Constitution and things like that. But of course, even he didn't win, even though he actually did have quite a bit of money and backing, because it's not about truth, it's about politics.
It's about what can I do for liberty, what can I do for our children's freedom, and how can we take it back? Now, if you want more of the same, it's going to be easy to get it.
And it was, and they got more of the same, and absolutely nothing changed because people don't actually want to change. And Dan Newhouse, the guy that won, take these off because I don't like them. Put them right over here. How's that? How's that, guys? Dan Newhouse, the man that won. Can I? Let me switch and let me see if I can kind of mimic how he would make a speech. I would make speeches like this, which would catch people's attention, but they were like, "Oh, he's just a kid. He can't win. Let's vote for the old guard." And let me see if I can speak still like Dan Newhouse, because I used to be quite practiced at it, because I was at a lot of these congressional debates and forums. And it was something along these lines. America is a dream. And I'm proud to have served my state. And I will be proud to serve in Washington as your congressman, fighting for the issues like agriculture, freedom, and NRA that make our country the greatest country. I love your children. I love our veterans and families and your babies. I kiss them. Thank you all. That was a Dan Newhouse speech. Every time. Same old, same old, same old. Okay, coming back to you guys in the chat now that we've done that. I'm just looking over. There's my Cassandra in there. Hello, Hattie. What else? I don't want to go too long. How long has this show even been going? I need a stopwatch right on here, because I can go over here and look. But I mean, I saw a keyboard today that has a little OLED thing. Maybe the super chats can buy this keyboard, and you can program it so it does different things, and you can actually have a stopwatch on the corner of your keyboard, which would be perfect. Today's show is only going 30 minutes because it's just a chat show. Okay, coming back to you guys and the chat. I moved the chat up here today to see if it was a little tidier, but ex-President Trump for a pardon. Trump pardons his criminal friends and soldiers that murder innocents. Those are the kind of people that Trump pardons. Or if there's enough political pressure, maybe he'll pardon someone if they're licking boots enough of the system. But you notice people like Jeff Winehouse and Schaefer Cox and many people from the Bundy trials, and even people like Jerry DeLoomis, who was Trump's own campaign workers, are still sitting in prison. That should tell you a lot about that. Let's see. Joseph says it took 13 minutes to get a notice. I'm not surprised. It's YouTube, but make sure you click that bell icon, right? Where's it at? If you're watching one of my videos, you can click the bell icon, and it's like right there. It's right there on the screen, on the bottom right corner. I think it's the same on mobile, more or less. So click that bell icon to make sure. Thank you, Terry. Yes, I am a permanent resident in Mexico. I am a certified refugee in the Republic, or should I say Estados Unidos de Mexico. Yeah, I'm a permanent resident, as are my family. And there's a video about that on this channel. In fact, I think it's like the featured video. Since we're on the topic, let's go to the channel real quick, because you guys should be subscribed to this guy. This guy's pretty cool. Here's his channel, and let me just switch to the combo screen here. And yeah, bueno, there's his channel. Yeah, this one right here is all about me getting refugee status. And there's a nice, my wife there. You know, when I posted this photo, this little thumbnail here of my wife in a nice evening dress, people are like, oh, Gavin, you're so terrible. Like, you're making your wife an object. The self-righteousness is so off the charts in our country. And, you know, that's a good segue, actually, to somebody always wants to be better, right? Even though they don't love their neighbor, they don't visit the sick in prison, they don't feed the poor. Like, why is it that so much of our nation doesn't act at all like Jesus, and so much of the world, and yet they're always telling us what's right when they won't stand up for anything? And I'm a photographer for a living, which I've told you guys on these casual shows I would do the day job minute, because my day job is photography, video. I make Lightroom and Photoshop tools over at simefx.com, and I have another channel. If you search it, Sim Studios, let's go there. Let's go to the screen. If you search for the other channel, whoops. Let's see here. If you search for, let's just go for Sim Studios, I believe it's called, or is it just Sim? Sometimes I forget, honestly. Yeah. I can't even, why is it when I look, here's the video I'm doing right now. Why is it that sometimes I can't even find my own channel? But no, here's the URL directly. Sim Studios. They have to be like censoring me. YouTube.com/Sim Studios is that channel, and that's my photography related channel. But speaking of my day job, since we're on that segue topic, I should be editing this photo session right now, because that's what I should be doing right now, and I'm not, because I didn't kind of wanted to do a live stream, but I'm just going through and editing these. I've got this nice session that I've been waiting too long on. This one should have been finished a couple weeks ago, and you guys can I'll just give you a quick snippy preview here of this session with Lara. And there's these are really cute. I mean, like, these are classy, these are fun. These are in the park in San Juan del Rio. So I've just had like these kind of model interns that have just wanted to practice, and they collaborate with me. And because I always need new material for my videos on the other channel, and most of these are not even edited yet, so I shouldn't even be showing these. But there's some really cute ones, and yeah, that's what I've been working on I shouldn't say most of today. I've been doing a lot of things, but if I actually get working, it goes pretty quickly. It really does. So yeah, some of the photos I've been working on. Instagram.com / since we're doing this tonight and we're just kind of like talking about all this stuff, Instagram.com / Gavin Sim. You guys can check that out and kind of see what I've been doing and my projects. And the other one that has some of the other things on it is Instagram.com / SimEffects. And so you can check that out as well. because whatever I'm doing with photography is usually on one of these channels. Okay, coming back to main cam right now and reviewing your chats. So let me just, before we wrap up, I want to talk to you guys for a couple minutes. And let's see, where are we? Where was I? I'm just kind of browsing through. Do you think Trey Gowdy's a good guy? I mean, I think as congressmen go, the problem is that even Justin Amash is kind of the only guy that I feel like consistently sticks to his principles and really just says no. I feel like a lot of the other ones are just playing, the longer they're in office, the more they play the Republican game. And I'm not saying that Justin Amash is perfect, but I feel like there's maybe one congressman that I could actually say, this guy's trying. And I can't say I know the rest, but yeah, I mean, if I had won the congressional seat, it was to be an activist as a congressman and to use that platform. And because voting, sitting in dusty chairs or in clean chairs that are well polished and expensive in Congress is not what makes change. Resisting is what makes change. And Fitzcam, you're right. I need a clock. I need a clock in the office, just like there should be a clock in the kitchen. What a fluke. We can't post unless... Oh, look. No, that's something else. Okay. Let's see. Just looking over. Thanks, Chris. I've been tinkering with the setup quite a bit, and I think it's kind of starting to look pretty sweet. I've got the Blackmagic switcher and the capture card, all that stuff. Do you see yourself coming back to America anytime soon? I'm in America. Mexico is America, as is Colombia and Guatemala, and so America is very diverse. I think maybe we should learn the continent we're on. But I know this is a common mistake. I'm not beating up on anyone, but the USA is not America. It's just a small fascist corner of America. But no, I don't plan to come back to the USA at this point. I mean, who knows what the world will bring. Let's see, what else? I'm just looking over. In general, I like living in Mexico. This year, I mean, I want to have different places. Somebody asked what my favorite city was. I don't have a favorite city yet because I haven't explored enough. It took me like a year and a half, pushing 2 years to get my refugee status sorted. And then I've been busy this year with business stuff and everything's been closed, so it hasn't been very fun to go places. And so I feel like every time I want to get out and explore more, there's something in my way. But no, I actually want to get a secondary house somewhere on the beach, so I have kind of an alternate place if one place is feeling sucky. You know how it is. Sometimes you're in a place and there's just stupid stuff going on and you're wishing you could get out. Well, in Mexico, the cost of living is a lot lower. And so if I start some kind of business somewhere else, on the coast somewhere, I always want to make it a business endeavor so it's profitable. And so there's a logical reason for me to have a house or a trailer or whatever. I always try to use it for something that in the end will make me money. And I'm working on some videos and stuff for some of the projects I'm working on. More men need to be like Gavin. What a great husband and father for what he did leaving the U.S. I hope your wife knows how blessed she is to have you. I think she feels that way. I know I feel blessed to have her. I mean, who has that? Right? Let's see. I think I've covered this. I think I've covered most of this. I'm just streaming down. Stephen, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for talking with us all tonight. Canadian money is I haven't tracked the Canadian money. I'm tracking the peso against the US dollar, and I think the Canadian money is doing okay, right? Somebody tell me how Canada's doing. I know the police are getting more aggressive. I know that this is worldwide. I know they're trying to push it more. But in my experience with Canada, people always like to make fun of Canadians because Canadians are nice and they don't really fight back when we make fun of them. And gringos are kind of a-holes, so we make fun of everybody to pretend that we're better and that we're not slaves. But Canada, from all the reports I've seen and from what I've seen, is actually has more freedom, and more importantly, their prison population is one of the lowest in the world, which does say something. Even though their system's unjust, it says a lot, and their police are not near as psycho, but their police seem to be getting worse, and that does concern me, Stephen, so stay safe up there in Canada. Thank you, K. Smalls, and let me just look at all of this. because there's my wife. Hello, baby. Good to see you all in here live. Yes. So the topic, the actual title of this video, but Gavin, you ran. And I'm in good company. People like Paul the Apostle and Jesus and our founding fathers, and pretty much every freedom fighter in the history of the world at one point ran. I like to call it a tactical retreat, but maybe I'm just politicizing. So if you want to call it ran, I ran so I can be here. I ran so that I can be in places like I have showed you guys on the Gavin Syme channel. I ran, where's one of my first videos in Mexico before all this junk happened this year? I ran so that I can have things like this.
You guys ran down to Querétaro.
And I can go out. And I can travel.
Instant card out there.
This is terrifying.
Turns out it's been
That's why I left. So I just wanted to make sure I did a little justice to the title of today's video because, yeah, I left. Call it running, call it a tactical retreat. I choose to not live under fascism, and more importantly, not to be killed if I can avoid it, even though that's possible anywhere you stand up, including in Mexico, and to not live in a prison cell. That's the choice that I make for me and my family, and I hope you guys, when the time comes, will as well. For real. For real? For real. Okay? Wow. Can't believe I said that. Gavin just said he was like Jesus and Paul. I'm so used to this. I don't even get mad anymore when people say this kind of stuff. And of course, no, I didn't say that at all. But I do aspire to act like Jesus in the way I treat other people, even the ones that treat me like crap. But more importantly, to stand up to the ones that treat other people like crap. But you guys can watch all these videos on the Gavin Syme channel. So by all means, like, pop over and look at some of these videos. The Exile show, a lot of Mexico stuff. There's even a category with subtitles in Spanish, street activism, escape in the USA. There's an herb section. There's basically, it's pretty well organized. Honestly, it's pretty well organized. So I think you guys will actually enjoy some of the videos. I think there's every time I go live, there's always like half a dozen people that are like, "Oh, it's good to see you again," and I'm like, "Well, it's good to see you too." But I was just live like a week ago, and I just posted a video yesterday. And I know I've been busy and kind of crazy this year because of some of the other projects I'm working on that I'll inform you guys of in the near future. However, there's a lot of content here on this channel, and so thank you all. I appreciate the kind words. Yes, Gifted Green, it is a pretty monotheism, thank you. And just, I don't know, keep resisting, keep standing up, keep trying to love your neighbor, keep trying to not be a slave everywhere you go. And that goes a long ways. I don't think we're ever going to have true freedom in this life, personally, but we can sure try. We can sure be like closer than the US is. So anyways, I appreciate you all. Another big shout out to Stephen Sewell. Thank you for that nice super chat. I'll get some tacos for the kids with that, and they will appreciate that. That is probably 90 tacos. So I can like have a family party with tacos for that, because we measure currency. I measure currency more in terms of tacos. I'm actually more frugal here even though I'm still doing the same kind of work. But and I'm more frugal because money's tighter this year and business sucks. But I'm more frugal here because even buying like a bottle of whiskey or something like that, right? That's nice because I don't drink and get drunk. If I buy a bottle of wine or whiskey, I just want it to sip on because it's nice. And if you buy a bottle of Woodford Reserve down here, it's imported from the US and then all the taxes. So you're still going to pay like $50 for that, right? And all I can think of, occasionally I will, but I actually buy things like that less down here and I'm not less happy for it. Because every time I'm like in the States going to spend $50 on a dinner or maybe a bottle of whiskey or $20 bottle of wine, it was like in the perspective of costs, it didn't seem like that much. And down here, I'm like, wow, that's like 100 tacos. And so that's always in my mind. I really feel like the currency shouldn't be the peso, it should be the taco. And I've told Mexicanos this. The currency should be the taco, not the peso. And there should be a coin that represents that taco. And that coin, there could be a standard. It could be backed by something real in that with that coin, you could always trade that coin for a taco. And there would be like an official state standard size for a taco or national standard for a taco. There would be a taqueria in Centro Histórico in Mexico City that served the Mexican taco, right? It probably wouldn't be near as good as the street tacos, but it would set the standard of this is the size of a taco and how much is on it and what it is, very distinct weights and measures. And the coin, the taco, would be backed. Instead of 10 peso coin, it would be a taco coin. It'd be one taco. And as dumb as that sounds, I know everybody laughs. As dumb as that sounds, from an economics perspective, it would probably stabilize the currency and reduce inflation. Because the money, without having gold or diamonds, think about this. I mean, the taco is the thing in Mexico. The money could be backed by a taco. And at any time, you could trade that coin at the national taco stand in Centro Histórico for a taco. And so it would standardize things. I think it'd be phenomenal. But I'm not the president in any country. So what can I say? All right, what can I say? So you could have people that sold a 2 taco, which was like a double size, like a double taco. It's like, give me two taco, dos tacos doble, por favor. Oye, amigo, güey, dos tacos doble, por favor. Y un taco de estándar para mi chica. Yeah. Why am I speaking Spanish with an Irish accent? That doesn't even make sense. Okay, it's too late. I've been going too long. You see what happens if we run late. All right, K-Smalls, glad you got to tune in. And you know what? Just get your cameras going, get your live streams going, like play around with it. I've spent some time tinkering with this, but I've done a lot of live streams on the phone. I just hate the low audio and the low video quality. So I'm enjoying this. And yes, but thank you all. I appreciate it. Noah Klein, thank you. Always wondered why Mexico, why not Canada? Because more freedom. And I've talked about this before. Canada is pretty, it's cold. And while Canada, I do believe, is better than the US from a freedom and tranquility perspective, I think the people are more friendly and they're more open there. It's getting worse. And it's also boxed in. The problem with Canada is there's really nowhere to go without going through the US or flying. And flying is always controlled when things get dicey. So that's why Mexico, the culture is really beautiful. Sure, there's a lot of problems, but there's so much to see. The climate is so amazing. We'll talk about this another day because I could do a whole show about why Mexico. And if you guys want a show about why Mexico, I'll put some material together and we'll talk about it. It's funny how white men think they can fix or need to fix a country. I don't really care what someone's color is. And so I don't want to make anything about race. If I do something good, it has nothing to do with my color. And I try to stand up for everybody equally. So let's not get hung up on color. I know that people that are darker skinned tend to get downtrodden on, and we could do a whole show on that too, and that pisses me off, which is why I defend it. But it's not about color, and the people that can should stand. That's the main thing. Okay. Viva Libertad. Thank you all. I appreciate it. please schedule. I know tonight's show was random. I'm going to start. I've been trying to schedule an hour in advance. And in the future, I'm going to try and set distinct days so we can really increase the numbers and stuff here. So I'm hoping in the next week or two to actually set the first, maybe to start with, I will schedule one show a week that's always at the same time and be consistent with it. And then if we do a couple other random shows, that's great. But the Gavin show or whatever we want to call it, that will be at this time. And so I'll keep you guys posted. Stay tuned to the channel for that. And keep working on this. We'll keep getting it together. And I've never been to Scotland. I've never been to Europe, but I would like to visit there. Cuba, I'd like to visit there. Lots of cool places. And we'll talk about that very soon. I thank you all for coming tonight. It's been a fun show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know how everything went. Let me know how you're liking these shows and what you would like to see. Thank you all. Peace. Love your neighbor. And God bless. All right? Take care.